So I recently redesigned my Sona, and once I had a new look for myself, I wanted to give my channel a makeover as well. So for this video, join me on my journey of rebranding and drawing so many assets. We have a lot of art to do, so let's get into the video. See you guys there! So in my first week of rebranding my channel, the main things that I did were designing a logo and making a new animated intro. My channel didn't previously have a logo, and I honestly don't know how long I would actually use this logo or if I'll get rid of it eventually, but I wanted to make something kind of VTuber inspired, because I love how fun VTuber logos are and how they incorporate aspects of their models' designs and the color schemes and their personality into it. So I thought I would try my best at making something similar. The pieces from my design that I incorporated into the logo include the little hoodie strings, the glasses, and the shoulder cutouts. Oh my gosh, you should have seen like the look of disappointment on my brother's face when I showed him that there were shoulder cutouts on here. At first I was a little bit stuck with like what I wanted the colors to look like, because I wanted to use all kinds of different colors, make it look fun, but it just got too busy. So eventually I cut it down to the two colors I put on all my stuff, red and blue. Red and blue. The two favorite colors, because why not? They're also like the two main colors of my Sona's design. So to kind of make the design look like my Sona, I should have them take the forefront in the logo. But yeah, that's my little updated VTuber logo, and that logo was something that I could use for my little intro animation. Alright, now for the intro animation, which is just, you know, like a short title sequence kind of thing. The main idea for it was I saw a lot of these really cute VTuber singer animations. I thought it was so fun how much personality they put like while they're animating the VTuber models. So I thought I would do a little doodle of like my Sona kind of welcoming you to the video, with a little wink and like holding her stylus. Originally she was gonna do a little like swoosh into the logo, but then I kind of decided to get rid of it. So now it's like just the wink. When I saw like the animations that like inspired this one, it looked like a really daunting project, but I decided I would try it anyway, and I kind of broke it down into pieces. I started first with like the main body pose, and then I went down to drawing on like where the clothes are and where the face sits and the expressions. And then I got to like the fun part, the secondary motion, like the hair flowing and the hoodie strings flowing separately from how the body moves to give it like extra life. I think this animation took me maybe 4 days, but it was surprisingly like a smoother experience than I thought it was to make. You can get away with copy-pasting a lot of stuff from previous frames and kind of moving things around. It really started to feel like it was coming together once I got to like add in the colors, and it started looking like my Sona. And putting a little star out of the wink was my sister's idea, so I was like, I have to do it. It's like this cute little Steven Universe-y kind of wink thing. And overall, I think it turned out really adorable. One of my favorite parts, in addition to like the secondary motion and like the fun expressions, was going back and like adding shading. I don't know, I feel like it added like an extra pop and like a little bit more polish to the animation. I also had to go back in and add the glasses, which took a little bit of time, but other than that, it was pretty chill. When you see my Sona without the glasses, I don't know like about you, but like for me it feels like something's missing because I'm so used to drawing her with them. What kind of made it a bit easier was I changed it from like my normal style and proportions of how I draw myself to kind of going a little more anime with it. I did like a slightly rounder face and smaller proportions than what I normally draw, and I don't know, something about like drawing it in a more anime direction made it a little bit easier to animate. I don't know if it's because, you know, it's a style made for animation, or if it's just the shapes were like easier and it was easier for me to draw as a result. I still think it turned out cute. But yeah, so I did a little animation of my Sona basically just popping up from the bottom, doing a little wink with the pen in her hand, and then it cuts to the logo. Pretty simple stuff, but it took so long to draw. And that's basically what I did in my first week of working on the rebrand. Alright, so week 2 is finished and I'm back to recording again. In week 2, I made a new profile photo and an outro end card thing. So for the profile photo, I had a lot of doodles that I'd done over the past few months of my new Sona design. Things that I was thinking to use for my profile photo, but like wasn't 100% on yet. So I took a few of my favorite doodles and kind of meshed them together and tried to make a new one over them using my favorite pieces from each, and then kind of going back and trying to get a better shape on the face. You'll see that a lot of the speed paint is just me warping and liquefying the sketch because I couldn't get the head to look the way I wanted it to. I've had a few profile photos over the years. My first one when I like first got to YouTube was a drawing I did. It was a drawing I did of like the Fire Nation girls for an animatic I did with my friend Flying Stars Animates. And I just liked how Ty Lee looked in that drawing, so I was like, I am Ty Lee now. But then eventually I was like, you know what? I want my profile photo to be myself. And then the line art for this was fun. I think on my previous profile photos, my line art was a little bit too thin, so here I tried to go with a thicker line art and more contrast in the design. I also like made the eyes a little bit bigger than I normally draw on myself so that they would stand out on a tiny profile photo. I went wild with like the lighting and like effects and like adding little like dots in the background and all that fun stuff. And that's how my profile photo turned out. Alright, and now for the outro card. This one I had a lot of fun with. For those of you who don't know, the intro music that I use in my videos is a theme that I commissioned from the producer Dreamsmile, which they're awesome. I highly recommend working with them. The music that you're hearing here in the background is the music that I commissioned from Dreamsmile for the outro. I waited for them to make the outro music, and then I was like, alright, I'm going to wait for the song and then kind of hear the vibes and then make the animation. I use the word animation here very, very loosely. This one's not as animated as my intro. This one's more two poses and it switches between them on the beats. But I thought it'd be really cute if I drew my Sona like making the videos. I have one shot of her like drawing on my drawing tablet, and then I have a shot of like me recording into the mic, and then one of me editing with like headphones on. So it's kind of like you get to the end of the video and it's a little thanks for watching message and then me tirelessly working on videos. I kind of went with these like non-highlighted like Funko Pop kind of eyes because I thought that'd be cute. I just wanted something like simpler. Because like the intro's like fancily shaded, kind of anime inspired. I thought it'd be cute if the outro was just, I don't know, like more silly, I guess. Just, here's little Shirley making the videos. I haven't played much Animal Crossing, but I imagine like Animal Crossing sound effects would like work over this as well. But yeah, so the outro card is just me making the videos, but like a little bit more smiley than how I actually look when I'm making videos. Usually I look more focused and like serious when I'm making the videos. It was fun going back, drawing my Sona, but being lazy with it. Like, I did circle hands for this one. I could have done like mitten hands or simple hands for this one, but I was like, nah, I don't know, the vibe this week was circle hands, I don't know. It's a cute outro card. It's not supposed to be like super fancy and showy like the intro is. So I thought this would be more chill. I put a little message there and a little section for me to like stick the other videos, and that's a little outro! And those are the branding pieces that I made in week 2. And during week 3, I made no progress on the rebrand. That's not to say I wasn't drawing. I was actually working on some art for some like upcoming collabs and other projects and personal art. It's alright to take breaks, so I decided I would take a break and then I'd come back maybe the next week or later when I felt like working on the rebrand again. And work on the rebrand in week 4, I did, during which I made a new channel banner. The original banner I had was like something I kind of strung together using Canva. I think it was fine, I think I did a good job, but I was like, I want to draw something for it. So that's what I did. I did a new doodle with my Sona. Admittedly, I had like ambitious ideas for this. I really wanted something that kind of felt like an anime wallpaper, but I just didn't have like a lot of ideas. This idea would kind of be dependent on having a pretty background, and backgrounds are kind of a weak spot for me right now. So maybe once I get a bit better at drawing backgrounds and enjoy the process more, I'll do like a fancier one. You'll see in the first speed paint though that in my like attempts to make something pretty, I was like, I'll make a Genshin Summertime Odyssey wallpaper of my Sona. Which, for those of you who don't know, the Summertime Odyssey was like an event that Genshin had a few years ago. I forget when. I forgot if I even played when this event was going. But they had really, really pretty art for the event, and there were some people who like recreated this art with all the other characters in the game. So I was like, oh, I'll make one of myself. But as I drew it, A, I realized I wasn't really enjoying like the process of making the background, and B, I was like, people are gonna look at it and think I'm only a Genshin YouTuber. Before I even finished this drawing, because like you see the background here is unfinished, I was like, you know what? Let's try again. I am loving how the hair looked on it though. So I counted the old one as a cool art exercise and decided I'd try again. So I drew my Sona just chilling, doing a little peace sign in the void, next to my logo. I just had fun with it, like kind of drew a casual pose and had the skirt cover up the legs that I was too lazy to figure out how to draw. I also added like a little tagline on there, like an art, animation, music, to kind of like make it seem as though my channel is somewhat cohesive. My channel's admittedly a bit more of like a variety channel that like has digital art as its main link. I just make the stuff that I like to make, but I figured that if I showed it like this, it might be a bit easier for people who are new to my channel to be like, oh, okay, so she does stuff with art, she sometimes animates, and she sings. This looks a little bit better and it's less overwhelming to anyone who's new to my channel. Oh, and now we get to the pain of selecting a background color. So at first I was like, purple and purple and purple, I love it. Because I like purple, you know? And then I showed it to my dad and he was like, hey, this is pretty cool. But I'd recommend one thing, and his feedback was don't make the background purple because like the purple dress blends into it too much. So after some back and forth and like trying different ideas, like you see me putting in a sky in the background, that's a reference to like my first channel banner that I had. Eventually just went with a blue version of the original background. I don't know how well the blue looks with everything else, but my logo and my Sona do stand out on it, which I appreciate. I am perpetually suffering from my bad color scheme choices. I just like the colors that I like and I forget that other colors exist. This is how my banner came out. I'm happy with the little doodle of my Sona. I think she looks really cute here. I just kept it simple and I think it's cute. I think it's straight to the point. It's just, look, it's me and there's my logo. And I think it's a cute picture to just welcome newcomers to my channel and returning people to my channel. Be like, hello, it is I, Shirley Draws. This is it. This is the rebrand, guys. How long will this specific branding stay on my channel? Only time will tell. Probably like 2 videos. Regardless of the permanence of my rebrand, I think it was a cool exercise in like design, animation, how I represent myself, and having fun with my new Sona design. I had like the redesign finished, but I didn't have a lot of drawings of her yet, so now I have a few animations, and a profile photo, and a channel banner. I think it's adorable. Thanks so much for watching this video all the way until the end. If you enjoyed this video, it would mean the world to me if you left a like and maybe commented your thoughts below. And until next time, I'll surely see you around. Oh my gosh, you guys get to see the outro, but like in context. Let's go.